Good morning, everyone. Or actually, it's exactly noon, so good afternoon, everyone.
Right.
The first one that gets to say that today. I am honored and excited to introduce Tulasi's speech because she is going to be speaking to us today about how Harry Potter shaped her life, both the books and the movies. And to be honest, as a person who uses the words apparate, Gryffindor, and Expelliarmus interchangeably in conversation, and usually get blank looks back, I'm thrilled to be able to evaluate someone who is going to be able to speak on exactly that topic. Now I just have to figure out how to work the word absquatulate into my Harry Potter vocabulary. Tulasi will also be speaking to the Competent Communicator Speech 2 from her manual. Bridget did a great job of introducing the main topics for this, so I'm really just going to point out a few of the words that, again, are really the point of the Competent Communicator 2 speech. The speech should be clear, should be orderly, should be organized with an opening, a body, and a conclusion, and should have a good structure to it. So I'm sure we are all excited to hear more about Harry Potter, and so I would like to introduce Tulasi to come up and present us her speech.
So, there's a warning, there are spoilers in this speech, so if you haven't read the series yet, shame on you. Okay. When I was 9 years old, my mom bought me my first Harry Potter book. I'd always been a reader. I knew how to read since I was 3 years old, and have been devouring books ever since. I used to go to the library about 3 times a week to take out new books to read. So when my mom heard about this new, smart, interesting children's book series, she snatched it up for me. I instantly fell in love with the magic and adventure of Harry Potter. I made every stick a wand, enchanted spells, and used my imagination. I did book projects on it, book reports on it, and even made friends because of it. For every book, I went to the midnight release party, wand in hand, lightning bolt on forehead. When the first movie came out, I was beyond excited. We had to wait in line for 2 hours before it started, but every kid in town was there, and we all left the movie theater discussing at length the differences between the book and the movie. Harry, Hermione, and Ron. These 3 people were there for me throughout the difficult times in my childhood. Even though they were mystical characters, I felt that they were next to me throughout my life. When the books were released, it felt as if it was almost parallel to my life experiences. When Harry started Hogwarts, he was 11 years old. When I read the first book, I was only 9 years old. But it was only a couple years difference, and due to inevitable gaps between the publishing of the books, we had found a lot in common. The 7th book came out when I was transitioning from 8th grade to 9th grade. I stood in line with all the other muggles and wizards at my local bookstore release, and once again started reading the minute the book was placed in my hand. And I had stayed up until 4 a.m. just reading the book. When I arrived at high school, I was terrified. Everyone was new, and I wasn't sure how I'd fit in. But soon I learned that everyone was a Harry Potter fanatic. So, in some regard, they had read the books or saw the movies, and we laughed and cried together. I had made new friends, and left chatting excitedly about the choices of the movie versus the books, and how the opening scene would be in the 8th and final film. That right there is the first reason I love the Harry Potter series. There's a real sense of community among all the fans. When I hear someone is a Harry Potter fan, we instantly start talking about it. For example, Anne and I had a great conversation about Harry Potter over email. When I hear someone is a Harry Potter fan, we instantly start talking about it. We go to the midnight book releases and the midnight showings of the films. We discuss the plot lines and the intricacies and the marvel of J.K. Rowling's genius, and how she so expertly weaved the books together. And we thought about every single aspect of a character's life, going far beyond what is simply written on the page. When I hear someone is a Harry Potter fanatic, we get comfortable with one another. And once you've revealed how hard you cried when Dobby dies, or how much Fred and George make you laugh, you feel at ease talking about anything else. So it's a great conversation starter. But that's not the only reason I love the series. It also turned a whole generation, my generation, onto reading. Until the series came out, It was considered nerdy or weird if you had read books. But once the books came out, you were considered weird if you hadn't read the books. After visiting Harry Potter World in Florida last year, I was able to witness the awe of the fantasy and the communion of my fellow Potterheads. So I'd like to give my heartfelt thanks to J.K. Rowling for creating such a relatable yet whimsical series, and a series that made reading so cool. Every time I read the books today, I get something more out of it each time I read them. The emotional moments are raw and real, and I can appreciate them now more. It means something different to every Potterhead, I'm sure, but these books have definitely changed our lives. They turned us on to reading, or gave us a community, or even just made us smile. And that, fellow Toastmasters, is why Harry Potter is the best series ever written. Thank you.
Oh, two very excellent speakers.